First of all, in technology or science or similar background in which you feel you are able to answer more. What will happen is there would be some terms which you might not be able to understand. So that would be lessened in that case. And you will have a little bit of pressure removed from you during your category. So that is what I would feel you should do for VRC. Now coming to DILR, just see in DILR I don't have a specific strategy as such. So just try to find something that suits you. So what I used to do was like you feel a lot of pressure when you are looking at those sets. There are 8 sets and you would not be able to do even 4 or 5. So in that case, what I did was that I used to mess up my calculations in time pressure. Like if I have 10 minutes left, I would for 29 to 17, it is 493. I would just type something like 483 and then you get it wrong. So what you can do is that if you're not very good with calculations, you can start with DI first because the pressure is low. You are able to solve it more correctly and you can use the calculator a bit more. So that is something you can do for DLR. Then coming to QA, what I've seen is most of the people, what they do is they try to remember this very high formula, which might not be required. Just try to remember very basic formula. There is a formula sheet on Inside IM, which I used to refer. You could use that. And but try not to remember a lot because you won't be able to remember all of them during the exam. Just try to derive whatever you. Then another point I would like to make is that most of the people are very obsessed with the percentiles they score in mocks or CAT. What I would say is don't focus on the percentile, instead focus more on the marks. Because what happens is that if you look at it, a general engineering basically requires 99.7 plus percentile. That looks very daunting. But if you just break it down into marks, it's around 174, 175 out of a 300 paper, which is not even 60% in all sections. So if you're able to score well in one of the sections, you just need to score around 50 in the other two. So just try to keep that in mind while trying to do anything. So that's my basically what I would like to give as an advice or my experience.
One common question was which exams did you give and which ones are the worth giving according to you?
So for that, I would say that time has the same cap which you should give because a lot of people give them around 10,000 or so. So that gives you a very good understanding as to where you stand. And I feel they are very good if you are a little well, like I mean, on track with your preparation and you have finished it. So in that case, you can give AIMCAT. But if you are not there, then I would say for IMS you have SIMCAT. They are a little easier, and I like the BARC a lot. So I would say you can take these two tests, test series if you like.
Um, is it necessary to maintain a formula book according to you?
Actually, what happens is that you are not able to remember all formulae, and there are some specific formulae which you constantly forget. So I would say that that formula book just before the exam, you might just go through it so that you are able to remember these formulas.
What extra preparation was required for XAT? Like any other additional resources, any difference in selection procedures since you did both well in both exams?
Any extra resource, I would say that it's basically aptitude. So if you are very well read, like if you read the books a lot and you are good with puzzles, I think that should be sufficient. You don't need to do anything at all.
So nothing extra according to you. The preparation for CAT is enough for it.
For SATs, yeah, just focus more on the verbal part maybe because from I haven't given it, so but I've heard that the verbal part is a little more difficult. So you can always
How important is CGPA for converting CAT score to admission? And like what happens if you have low CGPA or your 12th board score is below 80%? Does all that affect your performance and your admission?
could could you give us an idea as to how low are you feeling about the CGP?
Average student.
Okay, so I'll put it at 7. So see, if you are at an average CGP of 7, it would be very tough for you to convert anything other than IM Calcutta or SLM because A and B won't even call you for the interview. So try to maintain your CGPA above 8.5 at least above 8. Because what happens is that good acads, they are basically something you have on your paper. Extracurricular skills, they do matter, but they only matter once you reach the interview. That also, how you put them is very important. So I would say that first of all, you should look at your acads and try to get above 8.5. In 12th also, if you have above an 80%, only then would you have a chance at the Holy Trinity, basically ABC. So try to keep everything above 80%, and then you will be be called for the interview. There you can do like whatever you have, whatever your profile is, you can show them over there.
So do
I
online
agree.
certificate courses help?
No, not at all. I mean, unless they are very like, if you are, see, it's like if you look at an online certificate, the average duration you would have spent in getting it, let's say at Coursera, would be a week or two. But if your online certification is something which is like, let's say you had to put in some effort of 2 to 3 months for getting it, and it's hard, then maybe you can put it online. Maybe, yeah.
Does work experience have a weightage?
A lot. Actually, for Bangalore, it's a straight up 10% compared to 30% of cash. So if you have a score of, let's say, 140 on 300 or 150 on 300, then having, whereas compared to someone who has 230, 240 out of 300, basically 100% either, they would be taken at the same level because of the 10% amount.
I think Kaushik has been able to join us again, so we'll get back to you, Shubham.
Okay, sure. Okay.
So, hello guys. So are you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Kaushik.
Yeah. So yeah, I had enrolled in Times classes in BITS Goa, and I had attended around 80 to 90% of the classes. And in the beginning stages, like in 3-2, I used to just attend the classes and make some notes, and and yeah, and I didn't do much revision or anything of that sort. I actually didn't do much. I had actually started my preparation seriously in June. So now is the perfect time to start the preparation seriously if you guys haven't yet started it. And yeah, so in the beginning days, so before giving my first mock, I just did a basic revision of all the things that they had taught in the class. So like I used to find the quant classes very useful, and the VRC classes not so much. And yeah, uh, so so I'll give some VRC tips for you guys. So my strategy in VRC was that I used to read articles for around 15 to 20 minutes daily. Like I used to read around the articles in the British newspapers, because the English in CAT is very similar to the British English. So I used to read newspapers, editorials, and authors' opinions on the like, current affairs of the world. And I used to read from Guardian, Telegraph, and all these sites. So yeah, so prob- a problem that many of you guys will face is that you'll come across new words. So when you come across a new word, like or the words whose meaning you don't know, so you can uh, like you can Google the meaning, and and try to remember its meaning. So uh, yeah, so so suppose if the next time you come across the word and you still don't remember its meaning, then you can make a rough note of. So you can make a sheet of all those words and their meanings. So yeah, so in my VRC preparation, my scores in the mocks used to fluctuate a lot. Like in some mocks, I used to get around 95 percentile. In one mock, I used to get around 99. In another, I used to get 80. So these things might happen to you guys as well. So my tip for you guys is that uh, keep preparing, keep reading. Don't keep keep reading these articles like 15-20 minutes daily. That's it. So uh, yeah. So for DILR, for DILR, um, my only tip is that practice is the only savior for DILR. So nothing else. Like there is no shortcut in DILR, and so practice is severe in DILR. So with practice, your speed will start increasing. Like in the beginning, I used to do only around 3 sets, 3 to 4 sets, and till the end, so yeah. So practice is the only savior in DILR. So for yeah. So does anyone have any question?
There are a few questions for you specifically, not related to CAT, but what if you're interested in data science, but our branch is not computer science? What is a good place to start and how did you manage?
Yeah. So I started data science only in my PS2. So before PS2, I didn't have any exposure to data science, and actually found it very interesting. So in my PS2, there were a couple of mentors who guided me throughout, and they made data science very easy and navigable for me. So after getting a good grip over data science, I cracked some companies in data science.
How much time would you recommend for preparation on a daily basis?
Yeah. So in my preparation days, I was preparing mainly during my PS2 time. So my PS2 was in my first sem, and in the weekdays, that is Monday to Friday, I used to give around 1 hour daily, around 1 hour, and out of the 1 hour, I used to read around 15 to 20 minutes and some font problems or one set of DLR. So in the weekdays, it wasn't much, but uh, in the weekends, I used to drag myself a lot, like 4 5 hours at least you should give during weekends.
Yeah, I think this question both of you could answer. How should one start preparing for CAT 2020 from home? Coaching is not possible, and like with PS2 and 4.1, how difficult would it get? Kaushik, you could answer it first.
Yeah, so uh, see, so if someone doesn't have any coaching, so he could go through Arun Sharma's books for DILR and Quant. So if someone is making a note, his name is Arun Sharma. So you can just go through the whole portion once, and I and taking some mock tests is a must. Is a must. Like you should at least take one mock test, and I recommend you guys to take two mock tests. Like join mock tests of two coaching classes. Like I had joined Time and CrackU, and yeah. So what, while giving the mocks,
Shubham, what would your answer be to this question? How should we prepare for CAT 2020 from home and coaching is not possible? There's problem connected with Shubham. Yeah. So the next question would be how do people with Kaushik, for you, how do people with PS2 in their first semester manage placement, academic interviews? Is it advisable to skip placements for it?
uh, so yeah. So uh, what I would suggest is that, see, suppose if you are sitting for IT placements, then you will have to like start at least some preparation. And if you're not sitting for IT placement, like you're sitting for the non-core non-IT placements, then you can manage everything in December. Like you can do everything in December, so you don't have to stress for placements if you're sitting in the non-core non-IT roles. So yeah, so what I would suggest is that, see, during weekdays, I know that you guys won't have much time to give for your CAT preparation. So during weekdays, one hour might be enough for you guys. Daily 1 hour during weekdays, and during weekends, like 4 to 5 hours. 4 to 5 hours will be enough, and you should give uh, at least one mock on every weekend. So 3 hours of giving mocks, 3 hours of giving one mock, and 3 hours of analyzing it. So 6 hours, like you should at least give 6 hours on the weekends, and 1 hour daily on the weekdays.
Now the option is open for everyone, so y'all could put questions in there. Sitting at home, which institution's mock test should we try right now? What would your recommendations be?
So I would recommend Time because their mocks are like that mocks of time are difficult than the actual CAT paper, but they'll prepare you very well. So you guys shouldn't focus on your scores. Like if your scores are less, but your percentiles are good, like 98, 99 in the mocks, so it's fine. So the quality of mocks is good, and it is difficult than the actual CAT paper. So you guys shouldn't like stress yourself if you are getting low scores. So keep an eye on your percentiles and not your scores. And other than time, I would recommend IMS or Q. CrackU is a fully online based system, so you guys can join that. Time and CrackU, so these two.
What I would say is that for test three, try to give as many sections also as possible. Like just not
Yeah,
because what happens is that you might be weak in some section. Like I just got a question saying that how to enter that you don't know. So the basic motto is that practice. Let's say you look at some calendar questions in CAT. If you have solved some 100 questions on the same topic, you won't go wrong when it comes in CAT also, right? So that is very important. So try to just practice.
What should people entering second year do right now? Like, how should they prepare? How should they start their
so for
preparation?
the
What,
second
like,
year, yeah, so for the second yearites, I would recommend them to like just read as much as possible and solve some quant problems and nothing much, nothing more than that. Like in second year, you guys shouldn't be stressing much about it.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I would just say just read books. That's all you require right now. So, Nishant, I would say for like you have asked that did you target other exams like GRE or GMAT? So, I've looked at the GMAT format. It's not very tough. It's just computer adaptive. So, you might want to go online and look at some papers for that to just get a feel of that of those. GRE, I don't have much idea. But GMAT, I would say just they have a huge handbook for that. You can just go through passages from that, and people say that it's sufficient, and even I feel so. So if you want to go for GMAT, you could do that. And there is Devansh. So Devansh is saying that what are the best ways to prepare for VARC? Uh, See, actually, this is actually something that even I would say everyone has faced that the options feel very similar. Usually, what happens is there are usually one or two options, and you are always confused which one to choose, which one not to choose. So the first thing which I use as a thumb rule, this is something really unconventional, but usually the shorter option is something that is the right answer. Usually, I mean, it's not always, but whenever I feel in a doubt, I usually give a little bit of bias to a shorter answer. So something like so. Also, there would be like if they have used some term which is there in the passage, you could also try to find out if it's there in the passage. This is only if you're not able to understand what is there in the passage at all, and you still want to attempt something. So just you could use that. For PI, I would say that for now, you don't need to do anything. Once you get a good percentile in CAT, then maybe you should focus on that.
For BRC, there's a very good elimination technique which you could use in reading comprehensions. It is available on YouTube, so you guys can go through it.
What were some of the mistakes you made in your preparation that you could learn from? Okay, so the first thing is don't get lots of books. What happens is you hear from someone that you should use this. Like even right now we have a like he's like go for time, go for crack you. I'm saying that IMS is also good. So it completely depends on you. Don't go for more than one or two material because otherwise what will happen is you'll just get confused in the end. So that is something that I would say, even when I started, even I looked at Arun Sharma and all that. But I would say that you don't need it. Just stick to one coaching and maybe take the second test series and just uh, start preparing. Krishna Kant is asking how to improve solvency. So see, first, what you can do is that instead of using the calculator, when you're solving sections, not in the actual AIMCATs and all, when you're solving it at home, just don't use the calculator. What happens is that, like, let's say you're 17 into 16, and instead of writing 272, you just go online to the calculator and start typing it. It takes a lot of time. Every 4 5 seconds for each question is basically converts to 5 10 minutes of difference. So see, I feel that my calculations are quite fast. I was able to finish the QA part in 50 minutes, and I got all correct, 102, 102. So I feel that was a very big part. The calculation, basically, we should be able to solve them quite quickly. So that's all I would say for Mohan. Then, till what extent can low CG can be covered up by work experience? Sanjot, I would say that around 7, it won't be possible. Below 8, I haven't even heard of a person getting a call for IME. For B, yes, it will be covered up if you have around 3 years of work experience. That's the 2 to 3 years is a very sweet spot for most of the graduates, which the colleges feel should be there. So for B, if you have 2 to 3 year work experience, you'll be called for the interview. What score in
Yeah,
an MCAT? Okay, opportunity.
yeah, I agree with Shivam that your CG should be at least 8 if you're aiming for ABC. And recently, the mid-tier IIMs like LKI, they also have started to give higher importance to CG. So I would recommend you guys to keep your CG like above 8.
Also, what happens is if your CG is above 8, let's say it's around 9. I mean, it's not like I would say that keep it at 9. What happens is that the first thing which the interviewer looks at is your academic. And seeing a positive 90, 90, 90 is very good for your interview. They won't stress you much in the academic part. Like if just compare these two questions. Like if someone is interested in chess, they might ask who's your favorite player. Compared to in electronics, they may be like where do you use a common collector or something like that. So it's much easier to answer who is your favorite player in chess than answering academic questions. They can be anything. Like if I have to give an example of some of the questions, I was asked literally questions like in a 3 pin plug, why is the top hole broader than the other two? So, I mean, unless you have been going through these applications, it's a little difficult to know, and then it does not put a good impression. So, having a high CG shows that you are good in a cat, so they won't ask you much in that.
Yeah, so the next question is what score or percentile in ACATS consistently can lead to top IIM? Sir, for this would be like I used to get consistently above 99. Like sometimes I used to have a slip up till 98, but hardly had I had my percentile in AIMCAT below 98. But a lot of things also depend on the like cat day. So I've known a couple of toppers who like who didn't have a great cat day. So there isn't a fixed answer. But yeah, above 99 percentile consistently is a good indicator.
So, I think CGPA questions have been answered mostly. But if it's below 6 years, FMS is a very good option because the ROI is too good. I just looked at the fees. I didn't apply for it, but if I didn't get into IIM Calcutta, I would actually be regretting not going for FMS because it's just a piece of 2 lakhs and the placements are very good. So yes, FMS is a good option if you have a CGPA below 6. But what I feel is that see, the point is that in those cases, if your CGPA is below 6, try to get more work experience around 4 to 5 years and go for an MBA abroad because what happens is that only with a 1 or 2 year work experience, what happens is that your CGPA is still one of the most biggest factors because 4 years of engineering degree versus 2 years of work ex, which would also be, I would say, in most cases, technical or something related to business. So your CGPA would still be a very big factor. So just targeting FMS and going for it would be very tough because if your CAT percentile is not good, then you don't have an option and you have wasted a year. So I would say that maybe just get work ex and go for a. When is the ideal time to give CAT? When to start prep? So ideal time is people give it every year. You can start from the final year itself, and like Kaushik said, I would say 6 months is a good time. You can start today itself. It's a very good time to start preparing for CAT. Whereas, see, in my case, I started in August, so it was very late. I started in mid-August. I had to put a lot of efforts. I had to do a mock every around 3 mocks in a week, and I had to analyze them. So it was very tough for me to do it at that time. But I would say if you start right now, it's a very good time.
So, Shivam, have you gone through own academy mocks?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, so
Sorry, what
same
do
here.
you think?
So, yeah, so the next question is, can good percentiles in 10th, 12th, and good CG? Yeah, so this question has been answered, and yeah, so good percentile like above 99.8 or 99.9 can lead to uh, ABC.
Even if you don't get into ABC, if you have 90 percentile plus in all the colleges, I mean, in college and 10th and 12th, you can actually just directly get into Indore without even, without just getting 90 percentile in CAT in the main exam. In LKI, it's much easier to do it if it's above
Yeah,
9. Your mock quant score in the last two mocks have been between 30 to 40 and okay. See, so Sujit, I would say that it's between 30 to 40 right now. How, if your scores in the others are good, like, I mean, I would say around 60, 60 each, then maybe you just need to get another 20 marks, which I feel in the next 6 months you'll be able to catch it. So just keep on doing what you're doing.
yeah. So even I think the same. It is highly possible that you haven't covered like some subsections. Like I hadn't covered geometry till the very end, so I used to miss a lot of simple questions in geometry. So it might be possible that you have not covered some sections, and the simple questions in those sections you can't answer them. So uh, yeah, so you should check that you've covered you've covered your ground well, and then start to compare your scores. Like if your preparation is like not complete, then it doesn't make much sense to compare your scores.
Do PORs matter in profile? So Devant, what I would say is that they do not matter. I would say if you just take my case, I just have two PORs under my belt, and those two are also not very. One of them is a TA shift, so they don't matter. And I had a call from ABC, and in that also, I've already converted C, and I'll convert B in the second or third round. So PORs don't matter at all. So if I have to just give you an idea in this thing as to which is most important, so the first thing is your academics, which is the most important thing in your profile. Second would be the work experience or the internships which you're doing right now. Like I had done my internship at CD, so whatever work I did there, some of the profs are very interested in what I was doing with it. So that is something that could be a topic. Third comes your POs and your projects. I mean, if you have good projects and don't have POs, that is also fine with them. Because what they want to look through POI or a project is how well are you, how social are you, how well are you able to work in a group. Then next would be your extracurriculars, whatever you are doing. And does having a science degree along with engineering help in getting a call? Actually, no, because if you are from BITS and you have MSc plus BE, I think they just consider the BE degree. Maybe I don't have much idea. Maybe Kaushik can help me. Okay. Can class 12 board marks and work experience make up for an average CG? Yes. If your class 12 board marks are very excellent, like let's say 97, 98%, and you have 1 or 2 year work experience, then yes, a 7 CGPA can be helped. But then you would require very high percentile, around 99.99 or 100, to actually get a call from UIT. He was asking, IIM versus MBA abroad. See, it depends. See, if you want to work in India and you want to understand how businesses function in India, IIM would be a good choice. Whereas, let's say you want to work in Europe, so this is something that most people have to decide by themselves. But let's say you want to work abroad in Europe, then getting a degree from IIM won't matter much because I mean you are working in a completely different environment. You're managing a completely different set of people with a very different culture. So in that cases, I would say that maybe an MBA abroad would be better. So it depends. You have to weigh your options and then take a call. I would want to get a work for 2 years, but given see, you don't need the work ex in a managerial or a leadership role. No one would give that in a starting position unless you are very exceptional. So that work ex could be, it just needs to be there so that you are able to understand how businesses function, basically. Because that's what an MBA degree helps you with, right? So just to get a perspective, you just need those 2 to 3 years of work. So if it's not a managerial or leadership role, maybe you can ask a manager or someone just to give you more responsibilities in that regard and try to frame them in your interview later on. So you could do that if that's what you want to look at. Which books or coaching studies? So that has been covered. Um, which other entrance exams apart from CAT did you give? So currently I had just given CAT and I was hoping to get a good score, so I didn't give anything else. I think even Kaushik wouldn't have, as he's currently looking into data science. Is it advisable to practice only BRC and DILR first and using that? Actually, Kishle, I would say that you might feel that way, but once you look at the questions, even when I started with it, I thought I would be good in math, but I started off at 50 marks out of 102, even though I felt I was quite good given the background. So maybe you should just give equal time to all of them. Maybe you might be good, you might be scoring around 60, 70, then maybe you might not want to give more time right now. So that is up to you how you can do it. What sort of books slash articles do you guys suggest? See, there's a Hindu editorial. So what it does is it gives you a suggestion, it gives you perspective into everything. Like today, I think it was on the line of actual control between India and China, as well as the my workers which are migrating. So when you're going into an interview at an IIM, they usually focus more on the politics inside India and most of the details surrounding that. So I would say that the Hindu editorials are a very good thing to start with. If you are in your first and second year, I would say that these would even help you if you don't actually go for CAT or move to UPSC or something. And how to approach DILR, then I would say just practice. If you find calculations easy, start with DI. So what happens is that most people, I would say, are worried about set selection. So what you should do is give around 8 minutes to every set. If you are able to reach close to the solution by the end of 6 minutes, try to finish it off in the next 2 minutes. And always, I would say, if you are not able to finish it in these 8 minutes and you're feeling that just one more step or two more steps are required, then maybe you can stretch to the 10 minutes, but nothing more than 10 minutes should be given to a particular set. If by chance you have selected a wrong set or are not able to solve something. So that is a thumb rule. Keep it at 8 minutes, 6 minutes to solve it, 2 minutes to reach the final answer for every option or whatever is given in the question, or at most 10 minutes, but don't go above that. Is it difficult to get into IIT for MBA? Okay. Uh, see, so actually, for IIT, quite it's easier because what happens is that like they prefer engineers, whereas others are actually starting to push away engineers by introducing academic diversity and work experience and whatnot. So I would say that it's easier to get into IIT for an MBA, and scoring above a 99 percentile should help you go through. Current career, my profile will be 20 you have 1.5 years of work ex and the CGPA has not been decided. So I don't know what exactly. Your internships don't count as work experiences. So that's the first point. If you have, I don't know how you have done 1.5 years of work ex, and you have 7.98 CGPA. So I would say that's a pretty good profile. A 99.78 would get you a call from AMD. Please give them. Okay. The insights for deferred admission, I'll just say that the people who get into IIM Ahmedabad, of those, the top 15 or 16, I think it's 15, who are given a chance to defer their admission to the next year or after 2 years. And you have to provide a very good reason as to why you are deferring that admission. if you want to gain more work experience, then that's a good reason for them, and they'll allow you to do so. So for other IIMs, I don't think that is an option, and even in other Indian colleges, I think it's not an option. Finance minor, Krishna Kant, yes, it will make a difference because what happens is that if you want to get into a finance role and the professors who are sitting for your interview, after your CAT exam for interview shortlist, it won't help, but your finance minor would help you during the interview and even the internship. So you can always point that out during the interviews, and interviews carry a very significant weightage once you clear the shortlist. So then at that time you can bring this up, and it would always be a positive for you. Different courses offered in IIM Matter or IIMs offer a general management degree. There is no specialization as such. So, see, it's like people say that something is good for finance, something is good because there has been a culture of the companies which are coming over there to have offered a better role. Like, see, I am going to IIM Calcutta because I'm interested in finance, and I have looked at the placement reports and I find many companies are offering much better roles over there for finance, and the exposure would be better. So I would say similarly for Bangalore, I would say consulting is the sector which we should look at, and Ahmedabad is FMCG, basically fast moving consumer goods or marketing, sales and marketing, which is good at Ahmedabad, as most people have pointed it out. So that is how people are actually deciding to do. Do LORs help in PI? Actually, see, the point is the interviews are interviewing for around 15 minutes. Some of my interviews were only 6 to 10 minutes. So no one is going to need an LOR. But yes, if you can say that at the end of the internship I got an LOR or a PPO, then yes, they see that it's helping a little bit, but it's not much. If you can just put more points instead of looking at LOR. So how was your interview experience? Interview experiences are I had seven of them, ABC, LKI, and Accelerate. So all of them were quite good. All of them were quite varied. Your POR thing, like, and extracurriculars, I was asked only in Calcutta and Indore. Of that, even Calcutta just asked me about chess and PT just to ask me some mathematical questions. Otherwise, usually your interviews, how they go about is they'll start with an introduce yourself. You can take if they ask you. I mean, they only ask me at Lucknow Kozhikode and not at ABC. So in that case, they are allowing you to drive the interview. After that, they'll go to your academic. So in academic, they don't judge you based on what the answers you're giving are correct or not. It's just how confident you are in your knowledge. Because where you are going is a B school, so it's going to teach you. So they just want to know how much you learn from your 4-year degree before you come there. Then after ACAT, they are a little chilled out, so they come to your hobby where they ask you all that. Then just to see how you perform in a stress interview, they go to GK and it's very random. Like in some of them, they just asked me about the seven sisters and their capitals. I wasn't able to name one of them, so he just told me that. I mean, they just gave me a very weird look, saying that how do you not know the capital of all the states in India? And so it's, I mean, you just need to smile through and just have a bit of tact when you are going there. They just judge your confidence in different sectors and all, and the knowledge which you have acquired over the years. Kushagra, I would say that preparing for interviews, what I did was I went for CL because actually time where I was staying in Bangalore was not anywhere close. Over there, I just went for the interviews. I had around 10, 15 interviews just to know if what I'm saying is fine with them, or they might find something, like what they do is that if you're not able to explain something properly, they just catch onto that and just keep on digging inside till you just break. So they just you just need to be confident and not get nervous. So for that, I just went for interviews, and yeah, you need to have a very good knowledge in the like in current affairs and whatever is happening in India. Some static GK also would be required, so you need to read on that. So once you're through with CAT, you'll be helped with that. You will have that. SMS I'm color don't consider grad CGPs. I may have fair share of 7 pointers. and we CGP can fairly manage. CFA level 1 is not the exam which would help you in managing. CFA level 2 onwards is something that is seen as a spike in your CV. CFA L1 is basically something that you would anyways be taught at the IIM. So that is not something that people would be looking for, because by the end of first year, everybody has a good enough knowledge in that. So there is no spike in your CV. So CFA level 2 exams, yes, but see, the point is, once you reach the interview, how you conduct yourself is more important. A 7 CGPA guy might have more knowledge than a 9.2, right? In his subject. It completely depends. So basically, we're talking about the shortlist. In shortlist, your work ex and a fair share of 7 pointers, I think it would have been before, but right now the calls, how they have been given, are from I am Ahmedabad, at least I haven't heard of a single 7 pointer. Maybe if there would be one or two cases who would have a very high percentage, then maybe yes. So management courses matter in the interview. Yes, you can actually use them during the interview. Like you can just tell them that you have done this course, and then they'll start asking you questions related to that. So you can try to steer the conversation away from uncomfortable questions in your academics, if that is what you are looking for. Is ISB worth it? ISB, I give for ISB. I don't have much knowledge because I just put my profile there for YLP, but I feel that ISB should be good enough. See, the point is, if you're aiming for another year at CAT and trying to get 99.78 plus, it might be that CAT is more of nerves and you might not be as confident during the exam and you might mess it up. So a bird in hand is worth more than two in the bush. So I would say that go for ISB if you have good enough work experience. How do you answer why do you want to do an MBA and how do you convince them to pass in an interview? See, so it depends on what you have been doing before. But why do you want to do an MBA? Some people say uh, that I have done courses in that, I have worked it, I have looked at my manager, I have been inspired from them. I just went with that I wanted good growth in my career and I wanted to. Uh, so how I explained it was that see, once you are done with your MBA, you would be sitting in the main office. Like I put finance over there, so I was like that instead of just creating reports for the financial analyst, I would actually want to be there making decisions for the company. So it depends from person to person. How do you want to answer the why MBA? Just introspect a bit, and you should be able to get a good enough answer because MBA is basically teaching you about different businesses as to how they function and all. So I think it is something that would be quite personal and try to keep it personalized. So that is what I would say. A genuine answer would help you much more in the interview than something that coaching center would say. What kind of what topics? That topics, I would say that because of Corona, I had it only for A, B, C, and Lucknow, four of them, not for Kozhikode and Indore because those were my web interviews. So in Ahmedabad, they have AWT, which is very similar to the AWA which they give in GMAT. So you can look at that. For BCL, it could be anything. It's very abstract. It could be on any topic. It's usually related to current affairs as to what is happening around you. So you can just read up more so that you have a good idea as to what to write in that, that topic. Does bitch reputation help in any way? Not during the short list, but in the interview, it helps a little bit. And once you are through the exams, as I have seen, bitch reputation actually helps a lot. Examples of managerial courses. In college, I don't think there is much you can do in that case, and online courses don't help much other than showing your interest in the uh, subject. So, I would say that managerial courses wouldn't be something that you would be able to do now satisfactorily. Maybe get work in a management field. Uh, from there, you can move. Do you have any idea which these schools should I target if I want to get into product management? I would be better than I am for PA. I have no idea about this for product management, But see, ISB is mostly for laterals. If you have 2 to 3 years of work, they just give you a boost in your salary and you are placed in more or less the same field. Very less people have seen making a horizontal career switch into something else from ISB. I would say if you are right now in an engineering college, then yes, you should go for IIMs as will be able to switch to product management much more quickly. So people having low CG should not have moved from top MBA college. See, it depends. If you get 100 percentile, then even they will call you because they have a policy to call the top 30, 40 people. So if you are able to score that much, because see, the point is that 6, 7 CGP shows that you have not been doing well at college. You should have something, some spike which should compensate for that. So for that, you need a high CAT percentile. So you will have to work accordingly. Does working in NGO prove helpful? Actually, even I did work in NGO, and yes, it helps in the interview. So you can always point that out, and people are starting to get more supportive for these kind of roles and everything. But if you're doing it full time, even then it's something good as you can show that you have been working in a social sector. So it depends on you how you feel. And is 10 barely 80 plus 8 plus too low for EBC? Um, Barely 80 plus is a little bit of a problem at EBC. C, fine. C, you'll get the call if you do well. At B also, if you have work X, you'll be able to do. A, I think you need a very high catch percentage. Join lower IMC. I would say that the first 6 IIMs are actually quite good if you are getting them this year. But if you're not getting ABC and you want to get into ABC, then maybe you can leave it for this year and try next year because even coronavirus is not helping a lot in that thing. So I would say that if you want to give CAT another year and you're sure you will get in the top 6 again, then maybe you should do that. So for this, people who are saying that try again next year or take a college right now. So what you should do is if you are getting a tier 3 college and you expect that you can get into tier 1 next year, then maybe you should do that. Like I would say, if you are getting P&I this year and you want to get into ABC, then maybe you should give the CAT again. If you are getting Lucknow and you want to go for ABC, I would say it's not a wise option. You should go for IIM Lucknow rather than trying again. So it's just something that you will have to look at, and it's just a decision you should. Which has a stricter, so sorry, they don't normalize this. This is a very big problem for us. So we have to work with that. That which has a stricter grading system, but they don't normalize across different colleges. Maybe I think 1 or 2 IIMs will do it, but most of them don't normalize it. So they
Yeah.
don't consider that.
So the next question is how is XLRI compared to ABC? So yeah, so XLRI, you can say that it is like in top 7 8 colleges in India. And how much weightage do they give to CGPA? Ashwam, are you aware about this question?
XLRI does not give a very, it does not even give weightage to past academics very much. I think it's around 15%. And personally, I put XLRI above Lucknow because of a smaller batch size and a similar placement record. But if you are only aiming for the IIM there, then maybe you should put it at a lower ranking. Otherwise, I put it in the top two. I mean, after FMS, I would go for XLRI, so top five. Any extra prep for that? No, I didn't do anything. Just you need to take care. I had to for 2 to 3 weeks. I had to prepare a bit for that DM section. Decision making, it's quite intuitive, so it's not very tough. It's just that you are put in a business situation and you are asked to think like a CEO of the company, and you have to just score well as to depending on taking decisions for the company. So at DM section, you might have to look at a bit. It takes around 2 to 3 weeks of preparation, not long.
With questions, we don't have any more. Thank you so much, Shubha. Okay, we have one more.
No, Actually, I want to continue staying in India, so that's why I did not consider master in finance abroad because the cost is very high, and then I would have to continue staying there. So personally, for me, I want to continue with a job in India and stay in India. So I did not look at that option. How is CGPBA at IMT?
So this program was launched in this year itself. So even we don't know much about business analytics in IIM Bangalore.
But what I do know is that most of the people have demanded this course. Most of the corporates have demanded. So I feel that it would have a very good placement report this year. So if you are interested in business analytics only, then maybe you should
Uh,
consider this.
for business analytics and for those interested in data analytics, it would be a great choice. So one of the questions is GIMS a good option compared to XLRI and Indore? So one of the big issues of GPIMS is that it doesn't have a comparable brand name. It used to be a very good college, but its brand name is decreasing a bit. So that's one issue compared to XLRI and Indore.
So Anish has posted with CAT percentile 95 to 97 and CGPA of above 9 will get into. See, if you have a CGPA above 9, I kind of know that you are good in whatever engineering subject you are studying. So you will have a good mathematical background. And I feel you'll do well in BRT. So just go for, if you don't have sufficient work, it's around 2 to 3 years and you are a fresher, then just please just go for another chance and try to get above 99 and you will have much better opportunities in that. Kaushik, so what are your future plans? Maybe just ask you.
So my future plan is that uh, I'll I'll work in data science for like a couple of years and decide my future on my experience in the 2 years which I'll work in data science.
For me, I'll be joining IIM Calcutta and I'll try to like just read a bit more about finance over there. I have already started preparing for CFA L1 and I plan to do it in December. So I'll try to get a good finance background and know a bit more about the other sectors such as consulting and all when I go at IIM and get good enough exposure and see from there then I can follow.
Thank you so much for joining us.